This podcast is sponsored by Utocop. For more details, please click on the link that is in the description below. Hey guys, welcome to episode 10 of On a Personal Note with Adarsh Sakare. I hope you'll have been enjoying these episodes. The previous episode honestly was one of my personal favorites. Like, some of them ended up asking me how come you let it go on for 55 minutes. To be honest, I think it went on for more than that. We cut it out, but it's a beautiful episode. Have a look at it if you haven't. Coming to today, we're on episode 10 and we have another amazing gentleman in the studio. And let's say hi to Siddarth Pai.
Hi man, nice to be here.
I'm glad, Siddarth. So before we start off, Siddarth, I usually start by giving an introduction about the person. Very simple. Siddarth is a college senior of mine. So I went to St. Joseph's College of Commerce in Bangalore. He's a senior of mine. And the earliest memory of yours for me is, business fests were very new, right? So let it be as simple as a best manager, very new to me. But I always knew that when someone needed like an advice or what's the right way to go for a round in a fest, they said, Macha, go talk to Paida. He'll tell you what to do. Okay. And every month Siddarth would win something or the other, right? So that's like the earliest memory. Apart from that, Siddarth has his own company. That's 314 Capital. We'll talk more about that. So sit back, enjoy this episode. Great guy. You're going to learn a lot. That's one thing. Also, you're going to enjoy the story. So sit back and let's get started. So Siddarth, I want to start with one thing, man. In fact, I was speaking to a few friends of mine before we started off the shoot today. And there's one word that keeps coming up when we talk about you. And that's down to earth. Right? Everyone says...
There's usually three words, but...
Okay. One phrase. Thanks, man. One phrase. Down to earth, right? So everyone says, bro, he's so down to earth. I think, that's what makes him who he is. So where does that come from? Like, where did that personality start to build?
A large amount of that actually came from my parents itself, man.
Okay.
So see, even when you're growing up and all that, the most important lesson my parents actually taught me was stand on your own 2 feet.
Okay.
Like whatever you've done, like just because someone before you has done something great, you can't actually ride on their coattails and then start arrogating their achievements onto yourself. And whatever you achieve, whatever you actually do, always know that there's far more ahead of you than there is behind you. So one of the philosophies that actually keeps you actually grounded and more down to earth is the fact that there's a lot more that you have that you can actually do compared to what you've already done. And the only time you actually look back is when you have nothing else to actually look forward to. And that actually keeps you grounded. And you realize that there's no point, your work that you actually do actually has to stand out for yourself. There's no point going and becoming your own evangelist, going there and actually touting your own horn, blowing your own horn and doing all sorts of other things to your horn for that matter. It makes no relevance.
But
because other people around you need to actually understand who you are based on your interactions with them, not because something you've actually done previously in the past.
Yeah. Right? Or something, anyway. So my question is this, right? So don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
I'm 28.
28, right? So this is 28-year-old Siddarth talking. But say as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, was this thought even there at the time?
Yeah.
But how...
And see,
it doesn't come automatically, right?
15, 16-year-old, what would happen is, what did I actually do at 15, 16 years old?
Okay.
Honestly, I won a couple of quizzes, won some college competitions, this something over that. We didn't do anything earth-shattering. There are 15-year-olds now who are finding cures for exotic diseases, building a whole bunch of stuff, doing other stuff. What did you have to feel proud about at that point in time? There was nothing. Even when you started doing stuff to actually, so you became whatever class prefect or something like that, the power never actually went to your head because the way I was brought up, the way I've actually emulated myself based on other people, etc. There was never that tinge of pride that actually came in. Take pride in your work, feel happy about it, but there's no need to have the baggage of ego actually coming and bases that itself, right? And see, the interaction point becomes important because if I interact with you as a person, you have no idea what I've done previously. You have no idea of my antecedents, where I come from, what I've done, who I've spoken to, what I did, anything of that, etc. You base your opinion on me basis a conversation that we actually have. So when you come over there and meet anyone, always make sure to meet them with a clean slate. You don't come in there thinking I'm king of the world, I'm actually here, everyone has to bow at my feet, etc. That's just stupid because don't know the person you're speaking to what he's actually done. And even if you do, there's nothing that actually gives you it. Like putting yourself on top of a pedestal or something shouldn't actually give you pleasure. It doesn't give me any pleasure for that matter. In fact, when someone actually tries rattling off something, you say, awesome, listen, cut it short and let's move on to something more interesting, right? That's all happened in the past. I mean, it's done, it's fine, but what you carry forward and the way you carry forward yourself during your interactions as well as in the future, that's what actually determines the worth of a person. That's what I actually believe in.
So, according to you, when we say words like success, milestones, accomplishments, all of this, right? How do you define a successful person according to you? Who's a successful person? The reason why I'm asking you is, when I asked you about how are you so down to earth, usually if you look at people who are arrogant or who wear a hat of what they have achieved, that's because of, say, okay, I have more money than you, or I've seen more of the world than you, so I'm going to show this arrogance in front of you. That means they consider themselves very successful, right? So what is your definition of success?
So see, success is not an objective word. It's not objective at all. One person's success is another person's failure. I'll give you the example of an entrepreneur. Okay. Now I work in a venture capital firm. I run a venture capital firm, in fact, and success and failure are two sides of the same coin. We've seen as many companies are successful and a number of companies who equal number of companies who actually failed. So one person's success may be for the fact that he managed to sell his company, let's say, for about 100 crores. He'll be elated at that fact. He's like, I've actually done that. It's amazing, etc. Another person he sells his company for even $1 billion. The person has a huge tinge of guilt over that, saying I actually screwed up. That's why I had to settle for this amount. So you can't use money as a barometer for success. You can't use, I would say, worldly pleasures or the fact that you have X number of notches on your belt, you've been to wide number of places, you got into most exclusive club, etc. All these are just part of a much larger intricate machine, and it's easy for anyone, and any system by definition always has a flaw that you can exploit. You've seen Instagram influencers who manage to hack their way into all these kind of things. They're not successful. Everyone looks at the glitz and glam and the entire
they're selling to a market.
Exactly. So see, the thing, my definition of success actually is the fact that if you believe you don't have to go and sell yourself at all, that's actually a measure of success.
That's nice.
That's the best way of doing it. So it's not a question of money. It's not a question of accomplishment. It's not a question of educational degree. It's not a question of number of friends. It's not a question of what shirt you're wearing, etc. It's just the fact that you're comfortable being yourself, and you no longer have anything else to actually aspire to, and you reach a certain level. Now, success gets you to a level. Ambition what gets you to see beyond that level itself. And there's always a moment you have success without ambition. You reach a point in time where, you're set. You can retire, you have a chill life, go sit by a lake.
But ambition doesn's stop.
Ambition doesn't stop.
It takes you beyond.
This is where the third part, the character of the person actually becomes important. Because see, ambition is like a fire. You keep adding fuel, you'll keep actually going forward.
It'll keep going.
You'll never really stop. That's why the most ambitious people in this country, according to me, are our politicians. They're guys 85, 90-year-old, they still walk on the streets, go onto those rallies, address all those people. Man, if I was 90-year-old, if I get out of bed over that, it'll be an achievement for me, honestly. Where do they find the energy?
Good example.
But that's the ambition that actually drives these people. So you need to decide where does your ambition actually. Why do you want to put a stop to your ambition? Because ambition, you keep growing. Because there's nothing that's actually going to stop you, right? You become successful. with one aspect. There's always something more that's always ahead of you. That's why there's always a lot more ahead of you than there'll ever be behind you. So that's the thing. The character is what allows you to actually stop that. Because ambition will consume you, dude. There have been people who if their ambition will actually become successful in their work career, there is no top. The moment you hit one milestone, there's another milestone
waiting.
Exactly.
Crazy, man. I like that insight. The reason I wanted to start off this podcast with that insight is because, of course, when we talk about your company, that's 314 Capital, before we dwell into that and all that, can you give us, when I go on your LinkedIn, there are these 2-3 names that come up saying investor into this company. Give me 3 companies that you're really proud of investing into with your firm.
As of now?
Yeah.
So the first company is Licious.
And I'll tell you the reason I'm asking you that, right? So one is Licious, okay?
One is Licious. The second company is Open. They're called Open Money now.
Open Money. Okay.
Open Money. And the third company is going to be tough. But I'll say as of now, I'm going to say Better Place. There's also a reason for
Better Place, is it?
Better Place is the name of the company.
So now, you go ahead, if you've heard of the company, awesome. If you haven't, go ahead and Google it. The companies that he's invested in, right? Now, which means there is a certain part of your brain that's business savvy. Okay, that is confirmed. But where did that start? Like, the reason I'm asking you that is, I really feel some people are born with that, man. Like, not everyone can see, say, Licious and say, this is a brand to invest in. But there's a reason you have invested in. So where did that start? Did Siddarth start exploring on his own, or did someone come and give you a fire and say, okay, what?
So a large amount of it actually came from just life in general.
Okay.
Actually, there wasn't one particular spark or something. So I'll tell you why. Innovation is the greatest creator. Scarcity is the greatest creator of innovation.
Okay.
Around. The moment there's anything scarce, your ability to actually think on your feet, your ability to optimize whatever resources you have, the ability to extract maximum amount of value, always ends up existing. So this has been part of me for a very long period of time. So as I was saying, when I was being brought up and everything, right?
Okay.
My parents made it abundantly clear that provided you do certain acts, you'll actually end up getting rewarded. So that the carrot and the stick approach was actually very, very sound. And it was simple. Like, if you don't perform, you'll get the bare basics of life. You'll live a comfortable life and everything. But if you want something you really want, like a new toy, you want a treat, you want to get a phone or something like that, you need to do something in order to earn that. Okay. And so that was their entire thesis. That was thesis number one. Thesis number two was, if you're a kid or something, I'm going to give you the bare basics for you to actually go and lead a nice, enjoyable life. So in that case, my pocket money for the longest period of time, my parents still haven't been able to contemplate and explain to me why. Was $100.
Till when?
Till college.
What are you saying? Come on, man. I don't believe this.
$100, no one believes it. Every time I say it, no one believes it.
The way I see it is, you have always had a card with you can swipe to any amount.
Not really. So I'll tell you what. So if I would swipe, the message would go to my father. Immediately a question would come from him saying, what is this swipe for?
Oh,
so
man.
I would have to give accounts and hisab from day one.
Accountability has started from day one.
Yeah. Okay. So you spend 10 rupees extra also, they are just like, why? And so in case, and that was a normal pocket money. But let's say, for example, you're going out with friends or something, they'll give you something little higher. I need to come back and come back with the bills, mind you. Not even like your own made up accounts. Come back with bills and say how much you've actually spent as part of that.
Shit.
So I gave you 500 and you ended up spending, let's say, about 450. The $50 to come back to them. You couldn't exactly keep that 50. So given this, first of that part, there's risk and reward. Second was the fact that there's artificial scarcity inputted upon you. The third part is confidence in your. The third part is actually where the innovation or the risk taking actually came in. Where you said that, look, if these are the constraints I have, what can I actually do as a person to ensure that I have the quality of life that I want?
Okay.
You went to Joseph's, I went to Joseph's.
Yeah.
All of us know what Joseph's is famous for.
Yeah.
All of us started doing that from like the first year of college itself. Let's be honest about it.
Man.
There's a reason the location of Joseph's is, for people who don't know, the location of the college is beautiful. It's at the end of Brigade Road in Bangalore. Fantastic location. And there are, I think, about 20 bars that are just in the 100 meter vicinity itself. So there's something called the Joseph's pub crawl. You go into a pub, you stumble out of it, you go into the other one, as you're stumble out of that, and you make a snake way throughout all the pubs that are actually over there.
Proper pub hopping scene.
There was a large amount of pub hopping, and it was fun. You get like really bad alcohol, $100 wine. I'm not sure if that was actually wine. Heritage.
That's crazy.
1 liter, $100.
$100.
No one knows that it was actually wine or not, honestly speaking, but it managed to do the job on top of that. So as at that point in time, I started realizing that I had to actually make sure that I could actually earn my own money to ensure that I could actually live the life that I actually wanted to.
At the point when resources were
scarce.
And it was done intentionally. It was done
intentionally. See,
drive that thought process.
So my parents had a simple, and this is a fantastic philosophy for anyone. Give your kids enough to take care of the bare basics of life. If they want anything else on top of that, let them actually go yourself. Go get it yourself. Because no one's going to come and no one's going to spoon feed you all this with a silver spoon for as long as you're alive. It happens when you're a kid, when you're 5, 6, 10 or something max. After that, you need to start being able to make your own way in the world. So then this started happening. So I realized I was fairly smart. I was good at quizzing. I enjoyed these extracurricular activities. I went and started doing those. During my 12th standard board exams was when I got actually introduced to college quizzing. And that's when I realized, so previously quizzing was, you win something, they give you a medal, they give you some trophy, they give you like a certificate, nothing of real value. I mean, sentimental value aside, nothing of real value. College quizzes were where they would actually give you cash.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit, this is awesome.
This is crazy.
So I have to just go beat a bunch of people who are somewhat around my age. Let me actually,
earn money out of it.
And actually earn money out of it. And that was a fantastic revelation for me. So I went and started college. I went and started quizzing in college, and I was fairly successful as part of that. I ended up earning a large amount of money, and I would spend that money for myself. I said, look, simple philosophy. I earn the money.
Yeah.
I can do what I want with it thereafter.
And these rumors were crazy in college. Macha, yesterday Siddarth won this much money, bro. Even I want to do the quiz.
So the funny thing about that quizzing is, in my third year of college, like every third year of college for that matter, in your final year of college rather, most of your friends actually go and start partying, enjoying, etc. Academics is actually at the last part.
At the last.
A number of my friends I actually realized had horrible attendance. So for contrast, I'll get to my attendance a little while also. So what I did is, and because I actually started a quiz club because of that.
Oh, that's
I said,
great.
look, I need to actually, like, all my friends are there, let me actually try helping them out however I actually can. The quiz club, or by myself when I go quizzing, we were fairly successful. In fact, we were the most successful quiz club in the city for that during my third year of college
crazy,
itself.
Man.
So I think we won about some 40 or 50 quizzes or something like that. I mean, Mount Carmel itself have won about 15 straight off the bat.
Oh,
It was crazy. So what I did is, actually when I created a quiz club, I said, look, all of you guys come, just become members of the quiz club. You have to do nothing after that. Come for 1 or 2 quizzes whenever you can. And if you don't, I really don't care. Life will actually continue.
Yeah.
We became the second largest club in college. In that photo, there was, I forgot what the name of first time. We were the second largest club, and not a single one of those people actually went and quizzed. They all got their attendance, by the way.
Oh,
Just
shit.
because of the laurels that the quiz club actually ended up doing.
They'll be so happy they knew Siddarth.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And I mean, the quiz club lasted a couple of years after that also. People tried doing things. But that was the thing. So I would go out, I would actually win whatever I had to. And then that became part of my lifestyle.
That was the first glimpse of saying, okay, I can chase things and earn money out of it and make my life better.
And see, they were for example, I've been to science and technology quizzes in NIT Trichy where we won by about 150 points.
Oh,
I've been to a medical quiz where I was actually leading in St. John's when they had their fest. I was actually leading up to the last round. And then they asked me which medical college I use. I said, I'm St. Joseph College of Commerce. They lost it saying, we can't have a commerce guy coming winning a medical quiz. They took their fifth year syllabus. They took like slides out of a class and they put up some histology slides, just like slices of cells and all that, saying identify the cell, identify the disease. I'm like, my biology ended in 10 standard.
But I can...
No, so I came third in that, okay? Like even I beat the third years out, all the fifth years won because they did that like a couple of weeks ago. And I met the organizers after. They came and just told me, dude, I mean, we couldn't let a commerce guy win. Mana Maryada, they'll go for it. Like it's fairly obvious. So these kind of fun things actually end up happening. So even in college as well, going and exploring and making sure you get out there actually becomes important. So these 3 things actually end up actually keeping you grounded. And even with these companies as well. So you can see an opportunity where no one else actually can.
Okay.
And you realize, see, the thing about investing is, especially in early stage or startup investing, it's not the same as investing in the stock market.
Yeah.
The stock market, if there's a Reliance, you go give money that. He'll never know who you are. You'll never be able to meet him. The company will do well. You'll make money. So, but what happens when you're investing in a startup? I'll give you the example of Licious actually. So Licious came to us when they just started the company.
Okay.
So there was nothing else. They just started. You know what Licious is? Licious is an online fresh meat delivery company. It's an entire experience
that was made to the doorstep.
Yeah. Exactly. Huh? Yeah. And so the thesis was simple. Buying meat in this country is a genuinely disturbing and visceral experience. You either get
heading there and looking at all these visuals.
If you go to a wet butchery, honestly, you see that happen in front of you, you lose your appetite. If you go to a supermarket or something, buy that cold, there's no smell. It's like a rock. Literally, if you take and you throw that piece of chicken on someone, that guy will die. It's like a missile that way. So that's a horrible way for people to actually consume essential protein as part of that for the meat eater who's in the country. This is the entire thesis was, I want to deliver meat fresh to your doorstep in a hygienic fashion.
Okay.
The way Indians should actually end up consuming this. Yeah. That was the thesis. When they came to us, they just did about 100 deliveries. They were a 3-week old company.
That's like super early.
There's nothing there.
Super early.
So, super early, but that company right now, in the latest round of funding, was valued about 700 million in the span of 5 years.
Oh, man.
So, finding out these kind of companies, taking a risk with them, and more importantly, actually working with the founders and the entire founding team to grow the business. Because early stage investing, while they require capital, that's actually true. I mean, everyone in this country actually requires capital. More than that, they actually require expertise. They actually require someone to actually, a shoulder to lean on, a shoulder to actually fire off of, and a person to actually, and a ear to actually listen to them. Help them explore and vet their ideas. Allow them freedom to experiment. Defend them in the board in case one of these experiments actually goes wrong. And believe in the founder, actually what actually gets you through.
You're actually walking with them
True.
At each step. So the experience is completely different than just investing into stock
You've seen
market.
These companies grow from strength to strength. You've been them, and like that there are also companies who haven't done well.
Yeah,
Companies,
I'm
for a
sure.
variety of reasons, they couldn't make it. The product wasn't right. Some other guy raised a large amount of cash. Something was wrong with the founder. Whole bunch of things also happen. But the sheer joy you get in terms of new asset creation, creating a new business that's going to become a household name for
And
the
you
rest of the
enjoy
world.
that.
It's a fantastic thrill.
I'm
There are
sure.
very few other businesses or very few other business models allow you to make such a material impact into so many people's lives as part of that itself. And
That's
doing
great.
the stuff that you like. And there's there's a lot of variability. There's no repeatability. Don't invest in 3 companies of the same kind, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you take a bet on that, you're taking a bet on that space, bet on that founder, bet on that company. You're taking a bet on all 3 of them.
True.
And you're going all in for those. So if something goes wrong, you can't go find another guy and then try getting into that thing through a lateral entry or something. It's impossible.
Crazy. So when you're making all these decisions, right? Was that time, like you mentioned, there are so many bars around Joseph's. At those times, at those parties when everyone's just getting sloshed, I want to know, was Siddarth talking about his business ideas, or is he also open to talking about breakups at those times like that?
Everything.
Or was Siddarth always saying, bro, let's talk about business?
No.
Or is there always a friend in Siddarth's circle who's pitching a new idea? Like, how does that social circle work for you?
So all of it works. As see, the thing is, no one looks at me as a unidimensional character saying this guy is like a VC, so this guy is just like he's a proxy for an ATM for that. I go pitch an idea to him, he'll come and give me money, and I will continue. That's not. And nobody can actually sit and just talk about like work 24/7. It's actually getting into you, end up getting burnt out.
Of course.
So even in college and all, for that matter.
College, how was it? Like,
no, my conversation varied on everything.
Okay.
How to prevent, like if someone's actually drinking, make sure that the guy. So there was actually a hangover cure that we came out with. I don't know. It sounds like pseudoscience.
Why isn't it released?
Huh? I don't know. I mean, I did a whole bunch of guys who have similar things. So I realized. So since I was a science student. I did science till 11th and 12th. Then I shifted on to commerce and then CA and everything that comes after that. So there's always a very strong inkling towards science. And if you look at the biological pathways about the ingestion of alcohol, the way alcohol is metabolized in your body, what happens is the alcohol becomes acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde is 20 times more poisonous than alcohol, which is what causes the swirling of the mind and the slurring of the speech and a large amount of it. And that actually gets converted to acetic acid and you piss that out. That's the entire cycle.
The process
the enzymes that convert alcohol to acetaldehyde do it very quickly. But the conversion of acetaldehyde to acetic acid takes a long period of time. For that, you need a stronger oxidizing agent. So one thing that can help with that is vitamin C, which is one of the strongest oxidizing agents you can get naturally. So lime juice. That's why people say have some lime juice and actually drink some water and go pass out after. So getting vitamin C into that actually became important. Now what would happen is the reason why your mind and everything would actually start getting more foggy, getting more blurry, because there's a very important vitamin called vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is water soluble. So every time you piss, you're actually pissing out all the vitamin B12 in your body. So and that directly affects something called your cerebellum and medulla oblongata, which controls your spine, controls you being erect, and controls the most basic functions of your brain itself. So the moment, and your body needs vitamin B12 to survive. Vitamin B12 can only get metabolized if it has vitamin B6 along with it. So I tried explaining all this to a whole bunch of college guys, whole bunch of drunk commerce students. It was next to impossible. 5 minutes in, the eyes
this was during degree?
Yes. So I started everything after I became 18. In college.
Sure.
And that's important. I mean, there's a cut-off age for a reason. I was 21, I think, but everyone just chases 18.
Sure.
So I started doing that. No one actually, so I couldn't actually convince them. So I just said, fine. I once did an experiment. So I kept a control guy. One guy I didn't give it to. Another guy I actually gave it to. The guy I gave it to with a glass of water, the vitamin C and the vitamin B complex. 3 of this, he had it, passed out. That guy didn't get it. He was just passed out. Next day, this guy was pretty fine. He was still slightly hungover, but he wasn't as bad as the other guy. The other guy was screwed. Completely screwed out. So I'm just like, dude, this works. Since that experiment, people started coming and actually, people started getting interested in that. So that's just one example of it. So sharing whatever knowledge you possibly can as part of it was that. Talking about sports, talking about whatever you actually speak about in college, right? All that was actually part of the experience. And that still is part of the experience. I don't want to just go and talk, okay, there's this company, I have to go pitch this company and go do that. I mean, that's one aspect of my life. That's an important aspect of that. But there are far more facets to every person's personality. It's always important to actually sit and explore that. That's even in your podcast as well. The one thing I really like is that you guys go above and beyond the pale of what the person actually does. I mean, your job is one aspect, your achievement is one aspect. But there's a lot lot more to the individual than just that itself. And that's where this place can actually end up shining. That's why I think you have a fantastic franchise that way.
Oh man, I'm glad. Thank you so much for that. Awesome. So that's really nice to know. The one word that kind of kept highlighting when you were speaking about this is the word experience, right? You're saying even the companies, you're investing in, you're not just investing in letting them go, but you're actually enjoying the process.
Yeah.
Now you told me, say, you're having a drink with your friends. What's more important for you is maybe the conversation and where that's leading.
Yeah.
So apart from business, what are the other experiences you want to chase in life as an individual? Like, is it travel? Is it doing something else? Are there parts of your life that
plenty
we
actually.
haven't?
No, so there's avocational pursuits, what I call them. So be it travel.
Avocational pursuits.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, what does that mean?
So vocation is what you do. Avocational is not related to your job, but pursuit is a pursuit. It's just chasing something. It sounds better than saying hobbies, right? See,
I'm going to
the
start
packaging
using
is important. The packaging is very
It's
important.
avocational pursuit, is it?
Avocational pursuits.
So I can ask someone, what's one of your avocational pursuit,
Yeah.
right? Okay, this sounds good.
It sounds good, and it starts off a conversation that way, right?
Yeah.
So see,
go ahead.
travel is something I'm still very happy actually doing, and traveling not for the purpose of work. If you travel for work, you basically get off the flight, you go to a hotel, you get out of the hotel, you go for whichever meeting, you go for a dinner at Max, you go back to your hotel and repeat the same cycle. Not the greatest thing, you don't see anything. So I've actually traveled to a bunch of places where I haven't seen anything in that place for that matter, except for this.
Just for the conference hall, and you would have
That's all.
come back.
That's it. Huh?
Yeah.
So travel is something that's there. Reading is something I actually want to get back to much more strongly.
How's that been for you? Like, are you a
It's
reader?
good. Yeah, I used to go through a book every 2 days, like in school and college, really quickly. Now it's a book in about a week to 10 days or 20 days and all.
But you're still reading.
I still read. The day you stop reading is the day you stop living. Okay.
How's that changed things for you, like in terms of reading?
No, it gives you. See, reading is the best way to give you a greater view of the entire world. Think about it. It becomes impossible for you. Let's say, for example, it becomes impossible for you to actually visit some godforsaken place or some really far off place. It's next to impossible for a variety of reasons.
We might
and
never
in this day and
even
age
get there.
right now, it is. But reading was someone who's actually been about that and vicariously living your life through that. That actually gives you greater insights. Getting insights into how people came up with their best ideas. Getting insights into new fields of study that may not have a material impact on your life now, but will actually dramatically alter everything in 30 to 50 years down the line. Going through even textbooks for that matter to actually give you a slightly better understanding of what actually happened. That's why the series called the Introduction series. It's a graphic novel kind of thing. It introduces you to various complex topics and people in the form of a graphic novel. It's actually fantastic. I bought the entire series from end to end. Every time I go to Blossoms, I keep hunting if there's anything new that's actually been released as well. So that reading actually gives you a window into what
that
life
exposure
does.
that maybe nobody else in your circle gives you, right?
Yeah, and there's reading, there's videos, there's podcasts, there's any form of consumption of content that actually gives you a greater perspective into life and greater variety into that.
And if it's genuine, you're getting it like ready-made. You don't need to go live that.
Exactly.
To take
and then you can figure out what you want to do after that as well. So
Nice.
content consumption is actually a very, very important aspect of that. Then there are actually real world experiences. You can't just live everything through a screen or something.
There's some things you got to live through and take it yourself.
So it can be simple stuff like actually going for a trek for that matter. Or if in case you already are somewhere going off the beaten path and actually going and exploring. That sense of exploration actually becomes important. Finding some hole in the wall that serves the best biryani. That's actually Padmanabhanagar has a few places like that as well. Huh?
It does.
So next time I actually make like a day trip all the way back here outside
so
of this
he's
itself.
taken a good 1.5 hours to get here.
Bangalore traffic though.
But anyway, that's another con. So one is travel, books. What else do you...
Travel, content.
What do you want to seek in your life in terms of experiences? Maybe give me like a...
Whatever life has to offer. I would love to go to space.
Give me... okay.
Honestly.
On the bug. Okay.
So I say given the fact that
So
Bezos and Branson...
Are you actually like... Do you mean that? Do you actually want to do that in
I
your
wanted to
life?
go to space for the longest time.
Okay.
See, that's why even Interstellar and Gravity have actually been fantastic movies to watch.
Okay.
Because it gives you a much deeper... See, the greatest sense of perspective anyone can possibly get is the moment you actually... If you're in outer space actually looking... There's a very famous quote that way.
What is
says that... there's a famous astronaut who said, I don't know if it's Chris Hadfield or someone else. I think it was, or maybe Alan Shepard. He said, if I could take all the leaders of the world, make them stand on the moon and look back at the entire Earth, and make you then look at the cosmos and make you realize how small you actually are.
That
all the
is-
stuff that you fight over, these small little quibbles, are nonsensical in the grander sense of things.
There's that picture, right? With the
pale
space.
blue dot.
This is where you live.
The pale blue
yeah,
dot.
The
By,
pale
in
blue
my,
dot.
Carl Sagan's written a wonderful work on the pale
Is
blue,
it?
blue dot itself. You should read it. I think it's about
Oh, that's amazing,
15 to
man.
20 lines itself. But it puts into perspective all of
I think I've read
all
this.
our histories.
Yeah.
Everything we've done, everything we
Yeah.
fought over, anyone who's ever lived. It's just a pale blue dot that's actually hanging in the cosmos.
And
So
you're
it's
and you're
unbelievable.
fretting on.
You're fretting on stuff where it's like, oh, you go to auto guy charges you $5 extra, like, oh my god, it's $5. It'll spoil your mood for the rest of the day and all that. It's not worth it.
I love this. So going to space is definitely on your bucket list.
Going to space been on my bucket list.
So what do you
since I was a
think?
kid.
So what do you think are the chances in your life? You think
Pretty
you'll
high.
make it to space?
Yeah.
Yeah. So say on a 10,
Now, 9.5, 10.
9.5, 10.
Straight up.
Yeah.
No, think about it. See, I'll tell you what. So that's actually the pace of innovation.
So
okay?
we have the first person on the show who's saying he's sure of going to space.
For sure.
So the day he does, I'm going to interview him again.
Yeah, I'll give you a shout out from space.
Oh
Possible,
shit!
huh?
That's
Huh?
crazy. That's
I remember
crazy.
that. I remember
Okay.
that. I'll make a note of it and actually do it.
Sure,
But yeah,
man.
dude. So see, these are the kind of experiences that you can never actually do. I really want to climb Everest. Not actually
Okay.
go and climb Everest in the go and climb that. I'm not
Okay.
remotely as fit as part of
Okay.
it. But somehow actually experience Everest. Or experience being on top of the entire world when it comes to that. I mean, there are guys who take in VR cameras over there. There are enough
Yeah,
programs to
yeah.
help you see that. But experiencing that itself is
It's
actually
crazy.
fantastic. Huh?
Lovely, man. I
So
think
these are the kind of things, and these are the experiences that if you get them in your life, fantastic. But if you
Yeah.
don't,
Hmm.
I mean, it's not like you actually missed out on something that
You
fundamental.
haven't.
This is the latitude
Yeah.
that life actually gives you to go out and explore. This is
Yeah,
why exploration
that's the
actually becomes
scope
imperative.
of everything that's available for
True.
you. Okay. While you were speaking about reading books, and you said how many days you take to read a book?
Now about anywhere between 10 to 20 days, depending on the thing.
10 to 20 days.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you that, when you speak to Siddarth on the phone, you honestly almost know that he's in the middle of something, right? I don't know, that's the vibe. Like,
True.
Right? That
Usually
vibe is, I'm being honest here.
Usually is.
Which means your days are packed.
Yeah.
Right. So now where am I heading towards this? I want to know from you. Now this is a problem I've been having off late. In fact, I was having this conversation with my boss recently. I said, I want to kind of get a schedule in place for my life, right? So he said there are two types of people, one who work at night, one who work in the morning. Yes, there are, majorities who say you wake up in the morning, that's the best time to do stuff. But if the night works for you, that is how it is. But I think one of the things we kind of agreed upon is if you have a structure in place that's able to kind of get more efficiency over time. So first of all, how's your life right now in terms of a schedule? And second, what do you think about schedules, consistency, being such a busy person? How do you include things into that schedule? How's your take on all of this?
Life right now is chaotic.
Okay.
It has been chaotic. See, the thing is, the moment you start something of yourself, any little minor thing that goes wrong always becomes your problem after. It's a straight up escalation. Because it's your baby, right? You actually created it. You'll do whatever you can to actually protect it, nurture it, and make sure it actually grows. So that remains. Even with the firm also, anything happens, some company has a problem, something goes off, it's always, there's a call or something that happens, you need to actually intervene and make sure that goes through. So that way, my ability to actually schedule matters for that is actually hard.
Okay.
It's genuinely hard.
It's hard, or is it hard because of the situation, or is it hard because of your personality? Because some people
like
are
a bit of
really
both.
bad at timing.
No, a bit of both.
Okay.
See, I'll tell you why. Now, see, there are numerous tools and everything that exist to sort of stage jacket you into a schedule.
Okay.
Having a calendar for that matter, or just like Google Calendar, Apple Calendar or something, the moment you commit to something, noting it on your calendar, blocking out that time. Is one of the simplest steps you can actually do into creating your own schedule and framework. So this gives you a live view as to what you've already committed to. So it's not like you're relying on memory, and memory is one of the most fickle resources you can rely on. Huh? You
That's
remember
a great
something,
thing.
and for anyone who's written an exam, mind you'll realize how fickle memory can actually be. You sit
Yeah,
and prepare everything,
You
go see
can
the
lose-
first answer, everything is gone, there's a blank slate, and you're like, okay,
Shit,
dude, screwed,
I'm screwed, yeah.
when does the bar open? Let's see. Where can we actually bounce? That kind of things, right? So see, you don't rely on memory. There are enough tools for you to actually do it. But the moment you start straitjacketing your life and say, I will wake up at 8:15 sharp, I will go take a dump at 8:30 sharp, at 8:20 I'm gonna go have like a cup of coffee to make sure I can take my dump, etc. Will never work out.
Okay.
The moment your life is actually that regimented and straitjacketed, your ability to experience anything new actually goes for a toss.
Okay, so what do you suggest, man? See, that's where I'm stuck.
So I'll tell you what you do. Figure out what works for you. Now, as a person, I'm more of a nighttime person than I'm a daytime person. But work hours cut off at a certain point in time. So what I do is the
okay.
way I structure my days is simple. Like when I wake up in the morning, etc. First thing is don't look at your phone.
Okay.
The worst thing you can do to actually screw up your entire mood is look at your phone the first thing you wake up.
Okay.
Wake up in the morning, do what you have to. I get up, do the morning, what I do in the morning, work out for a while, then start looking at my phone and then start actually doing what I have to.
Okay.
Thereafter. Head to work thereafter. As part of work as well, get some of the calls that you scheduled previously. Make sure there's a certain segment of your day where you take most of your external calls and everything.
Okay.
I dedicate most of my morning, either the first couple of hours, either goes in some meetings that I've committed to, or I keep that time to actually complete the work that I have. After that, there's like lunch is 10 minutes max as I finish that. Get into the series of calls and everything that you have to. Carve out some time for yourself thereafter to complete the work you have to. Bounce out of work. Get back home. There's dinner or something, watch something, chill out for a while. If you really have to do some work, if it's urgent for that matter, do that part that comes as part of it. I usually end up sleeping around 2:30. So depending on that. So
AM, and then like literally every day.
Yeah, that's more or less. My best work actually happens from about 11:30 to about 2. That's the window. That's the window where you get the greatest amount. I get the greatest amount of inspiration. Although
and it's
harder
worked
work
for you. And it's worked for you.
It's worked for me. See, it's worked for me. It may not work for you. It won't work for anyone else. Your parents would have told you early to bed, early to rise, etc., etc. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I'm a kind of person who can stay up for 24 hours. If I wake up at 5, I don't mind staying up from the entire night and going through that.
Correct.
But if I fall asleep in at 10, getting up at 5 is one of the hardest things I can go through.
Yeah, man. See, that's where I'm facing the issue, right? So even if I push myself to wake up in the morning, but my day is going rough, I'd rather, instead of working from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m., I'd rather put that work in the night because I'm just comfortable with that. Okay, so that's nice. How does all of this set in with, another thing I want to touch upon is working with your brother, right? Now, your brother is an important part of all of this journey. And I really don't like, of course, working on something with a friend, that is something I'm aware of. But how does it work out when you have a family member involved in something that is your main?
For us, it worked out perfectly.
scene.
See, think about it. Now, even if you work with a friend or something for that matter, right? You hung out with him, you guys have had fun, etc. But how they work in I would say, corporate setting or a more formal setting is something entirely different. And your ability to actually trust the person to do what he has to, and trust in the sense that blindly actually trust them, is extremely hard to find.
How did that build?
This is how it's built from childhood itself. So the funny thing is, there was once someone actually misquoted us by saying that misquoted my brother saying that I've known my brother my entire life. I'm like, dude, that's obvious, man. Like, which journalist is gonna go say that? And that's not what he actually said.
Okay.
It's not what he said at all. But that was a quote, and we framed that quote up and we still laugh about it.
Oh,
now.
shit, that's nice.
It's actually hilarious.
Okay.
But it does actually think. So I've known him. Both have known each other entire life. We've grown up together. We know what our strengths and weaknesses are, and we've been collaborating for like quite some time. There have been numerous times, for example, if you wanted toys or something, right? Like we realized that this entire this reward system that comes in, you work, you actually get rewarded. That actually worked for us. So he would do well in his exams, I would do well in my exams, and say I wanted something, he wanted something. So both of us wanted the same thing. We would make sure that one person would ask for it, other person asked for something else. So we diversify the range of choices that you've had, and we used to play our parents that way. It was the simplest thing, right? They promised that each of you get one thing. If both of you want the same thing, get like 2 of those same things to actually take care of it, and get something else as part of it.
So vary the experience. In place.
So vary the experience itself. Now, the moment he started wearing that entire experience and started working together that way, it became easier. There have been times where he had to cover for me, I had to cover for him. So we know exactly how to actually make that entire tandem work. And
so
we've been doing
pretty smooth there.
A similar kind of tandem for a long period of time.
Okay.
And that's worked. And see, the thing is, if there's friends, there's everyone. Like there's that famous meme of Fast and Furious, like family is the most important, family forever, etc.
Family forever. Yeah.
There are things that actually work out that way. Like all families are different. Some of them have their own dynamic. There are some brothers who never talk to each other. There are some who are there's some who stay very close. But thankfully, one of the ones who actually stayed very close. It's worked out tremendously for us. So I have complete faith in what he does, and likewise as well. There's always verify. Always ask, are you sure? But if someone says, look, I am doing this, you support them to the hilt. Because you've seen what the person's capable of.
Yeah.
And you know exactly what, and if that's something they can actually end up doing, by all means, let them.
Crazy. So 2 questions. If both of you and your brother are stuck on a decision and he's looking the other way and you're looking the other way, what happens then? That's 1. 2, where does family set in with all these plans? Like, are they part of the plans? Do they come and tell you, you know what, I think you're going wrong here, this is where you got to go? So these are the 2 things I want to kind of get
So see,
inside
if
on.
both of us are actually stuck on a matter where we have diametrically opposite views, I mean, there are people in the team whose lives are going to be affected by this outside of the both of us. So we make it a point to involve the rest of them in the decision, saying, look, it's going to affect all of us. I mean, all of us need to actually need to know what's happening. You can't take these important critical decisions behind closed doors, right? Then it's just like it's like school or the matter. Someone decides something, you're just sitting there like, okay, I have to sit here and actually do it. There's no autonomy that comes in. Having that autonomy and transparency actually becomes important. So that's one of the ways we've done it. So it's not like a universe of the two of us in tandem.
So they're equally involved.
Team.
So they get it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's like, okay, how come you're thinking this way? Because they've been exposed to the thought process as well.
And there's nothing that I want to do this because I'm me, full stop. Right, dude, that's not a reason, that's a statement. You can't base it on a statement itself. Huh? You need to be able to, and a statement is not a strategy. Your strategy needs to be told to everyone. And that's what becomes important. So you collaborate with other people, and there are times that are diametrically opposite. One person usually ends up relenting, saying, okay, fine, you want to do it, fine, man, like go ahead and do it. But you screw up on your own time thereafter. So having that autonomy actually ends up, you screw up, you do well, you actually move on with it thereafter. You don't get held on to the decisions that you end up making or get stuck in your head saying, oh, what about this, what about that. Full of hypotheticals. You've chosen what you have to.
Yeah, keep things simple, keep things real.
With family as well, it's actually similar. The family is given autonomy. They're saying, you guys do what you want. You're own individuals right now. You guys are old enough. Do what you have to. You want advice? Come and ask us for advice any point in time. But it's not that they sit there and dictate, do this, do that. That's not the way it actually
But has there been a time where they felt, okay, you know what, maybe this is not the way to go forward? And how?
Yeah, I mean, conversations have been had.
Okay.
But there's always logic that actually prevails. Okay. It's never been a case of, because I said this because I'm your parent.
So that comes through with the family as well.
It comes through with the family as well. See, it comes a large amount, it also comes from the family, it comes from your own personal experiences. Right? You've been molded equally at home as you have on the street or on the playground or in school or for Joseph's in that matter, or in a bar or something for that matter. I kid Joseph's doesn't do that, but it has a reputation of being a party place also. Because why not? Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Huh? And every college for that matter has a similar kind of thing. But these are the various crucibles in which you as a person actually end up getting formed. Right? And that becomes who you are as a person is a combination of nature and nurture. There are some things that are intrinsic to you as a person that you can't end up changing. If you end up changing it, you spend the rest of your life in rebellion against who you are.
Oh,
and that's a painful sense of existence.
That's a mad quote.
Everybody knows
just
that.
Dropped a quote.
Everyone knows someone like that. They're trying to be someone they are not. It's like it's a painful thing to actually witness, for people to actually go through. And there are other kind of people who are like fine, like they've been grown up in a certain way around a certain stage jacket. Once they break out of it, they go explore, they go wild, etc. But everyone finds their medium.
Everyone finds their medium. How does Siddarth look at the years to come in terms of his personal life, in terms of wedding, having kids, and this whole family life? What is your view on that? Because, I'll tell you the reason why I'm asking this, right? So as we speak, like more and more, at least in my friend circles, most of them at 27, 28, 29, the question of, is marriage even worth it right now, right? So obviously, in my friend circle, the girls start getting married first. And then now the guys are due in the next, say, 3 to 4 years, according to the, majority at least. But then there's this large group of people now suddenly saying, you know what, I'd rather live in with my partner. And because that's giving me this space to explore my life more. And say with a married life and a family life, maybe I'm limiting my experience, right? And we spoke about how important experiences are, and I think that's the definition that's running with most of the minds. So what's your take on all these things? Does a family life limit you? Does it not? What do you feel, man?
My entire philosophy is laissez-faire. You do you.
So what do you feel for yourself?
I want to get married, I want to have kids, I want to go the traditional thing. The person I'm with also, we've spoken about it. There is nothing that actually inhibits us, nothing that the institution of marriage actually inhibits us from doing, for that matter. See, everyone has their own notion of these kind of things. And they base that notion of people they've actually met.
Or some experiences.
And some experiences they've actually gone through as well. There are some people who genuinely don't believe in the institution of marriage. Some people who believe it's some patriarchal construct or an artificial concept, etc., etc.
Exactly.
It's never supposed to be monogamous. We're all supposed to be polyamorous. All these kind of crazy ideas are floating. And these ideas are not new ideas. If you, as a student of history, if you actually look back, all the way from the hedonists in the Greece to the Charvakas in India, everyone's had similar kind of thoughts. There are some people who are just contrarian to what society actually expects of them.
Yes.
And those contrarians have actually become mainstream. the hipsters of today, the people who want to live in and all that is not brand new concepts.
It's been there.
It's been there. People want to do it. By all means. What can you possibly say? It's two consenting adults doing what they want to.
Okay.
Who in their right mind can actually say that they shouldn't do it? You can't pass moral judgment.
It doesn't make sense.
You're not allowed to pass a moral judgment on something that doesn't affect you. If you think
Lovely,
about it,
lovely.
a variety of life, various aspects of life actually arise from this core principle.
Okay.
Even look at homosexuality for that matter,
Yeah.
right? You don't really, if you meet someone who says he's gay, it's not going to change
Yeah.
the way you actually look at him or you're like, oh my god, Shanta
gonna
Papam, that
be
kind
the
of stuff.
exact-
It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, your friend, I'll still hang out with you, we'll
Yeah.
chill, we'll do
Yeah.
what we have to. It doesn't actually materially alter the way I look at it. It doesn't alter
Yeah.
the way I look at you at all.
It shouldn't.
I look at you as a person that actually continues. But there are some people who are so aghast at the fact that someone else is doing something in the privacy of their own home.
I think that's the problem. The fact that you're doing something else. How can you?
No, dude.
Yeah.
The whole world was created by people who decide to go against a common grain. Let me actually give you. There's a famous joke also that way. The guy who discovered that cows actually give milk and people can actually drink that. What the hell was he doing to actually figure out that was going on? Same thing.
That's a great question.
Is that contrarian thinking that's actually helped people
help
evolve?
people evolve and
There are
live
hundreds
better
of-
lives?
There are hundreds of people who'll say no to whatever you do. When we started off as well, by the way, when we started off, think about it. I was 23 or 24 when we started off
Crazy,
314.
that's crazy,
Right.
man.
No, 23 when we started 314. My brother was about 27, 28. There's a bunch of kids starting off a venture, and venture capital was literally an old boys club. Everyone there is like, dude, I've seen meetings where the entrepreneurs about our age, the guy's putting his hand behind, like as though his school teacher is belting him in sixth standard. He's sitting there, sir, no sir, sorry sir, or this sir. They can't even look at the person in the eye. If that's a kind of equation, that was how a number of VC firms actually operated. Where there are guys on the top who believe they're God's gift to mankind and done it. And a number of those guys have shat on us mercilessly when we started off. But we put our head down, we continue doing what we're doing, we become fairly successful that way.
So
and people have taken up and taken notice of it. People will always shit on you.
Yeah.
Okay, no matter
For what you do, for whatever, right?
Whatever it is.
Because say even if you follow the mainstream decision of say getting married, even if that's not what you want, but you still do it because you know what, you want to please them, then the problem becomes, you know what, you're not handling your married life well.
You're going against, that's what you're not going against who you are as a person. If that's a rebellion against your innate self, it's a problem.
It's a problem.
It doesn't matter who
that
you're married,
creates an
the
issue.
institution itself actually starts affecting you. Why should an institution affect you? There's no one says you have to end up getting married. There's a lot of societal pressure, mind you, because that's a way of life a lot of people have understood. But there are a number of people who've grown up who haven't gotten married, they've lived in, they've done what they want. Some people who keep going and roaming the streets, trying to get another notch on their belt. You do you, man.
So be it.
So be it. The world is large enough for people to have varied experiences. No one's there to say that my experience or my way of thinking is
the only way.
The only norm.
This has to be lived or experienced.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's just stupid. You can't
That's
stage jacket
crazy.
yourself into someone else's understanding of existence. Your existence is your own to make.
The world is too big. Yeah. Gautam, you said you had a question.
Yeah, so this is completely out of the blue, but you said you like traveling, right? How do you look up to in your personal travel? What do you pursue, or is there anything that you have in mind, or how does that
Explore. See, exploration and the experience. Okay. So, for example, I went to Greece. So, moment you talk to any Indian guy going to any Indian person, not even, I'm not going to qualify it by gender. I think any Indian person going to Greece, they will like, bro, Mykonos, bro. I think Ibiza is also around there. Which is another party place. There's another party place. Another party place. You're like, why? If that doesn't intrigue me as a person at all. I don't want to go to some place dishum kind of music. You end up
So
getting
what
a
do you
headache,
what do you
that kind of
chase?
stuff, huh?
What do you chase in a place
No.
then?
So it depends on what the place has to offer. So for example, Greece, history. The crucible of Western civilization actually arose out of Greece. A large amount of the words, the language, the influence it has on our lives is actually outsized. Some of the things you've seen in like video games or movies or something, go explore those places. Athens was small time, go to Rhodes. Rhodes was a fantastic place for that matter. I managed to see things in Rhodes, taste things in Rhodes that I doubt I could actually experience in any other part of Greece. Part of Greece itself. So these are not things you'll find on like a TripAdvisor or a Tripoto or a travel itinerary for that matter. These are things you go out there, you go out on a limb. You figure out what do locals actually do. The moment you can experience a place the way the locals actually do, right? You've truly understood that place.
Yeah.
So imagine, so for example, I'll give you an example. Everyone thinks of India, everyone thinks of Agra. They go to Agra, look at the Taj Mahal, and they go. And they're like, dude, there's such a large country that exists outside of that. What do you people doing? It's a disservice. Similarly, people say go to Paris. Oh my God, go gawk at the Eiffel Tower. Go see the Arc de Triomphe, which is down the road from that place. Go to that museum, see some Hindi movie I think was shot. Quite a few of them shot. Go see a couple of sites over there. I just say, dude, that's not. There's a whole bunch of interesting things. There are very interesting counterculture scenes that actually happen in Paris that are not there anywhere else. There are various forms of French rock and French rap that you would only been able to experience right now if not for Spotify or YouTube or that. Go and actually see that at the source itself.
And that's the real...
There's French graphic novels, and there are those artists who are immensely talented, who actually hangover panasses and all that. No one else can actually see it. These are the kind of offbeat things that actually become important.
That you're chasing in these places.
Exactly. It can be as simple. It can be as simple as just driving down the highway or something, seeing some really small shop that sells biryani, go belting it. Turns out to be the best biryani you've had. I've had friends who've done that. Who just going through Kerala, stopped at a cycle puncher shop, spelled PUNCHER. One guy just had this large thing over there, just cooking. They were hungry. Like, what is that? He said biryani. He's like, how much? He said, I'm not selling. He said, okay, just give it to us. We'll pay you whatever you want. He's like, yeah. They paid him like a small amount of cash. Tasted the biryani, gave him a lot more money after that because saying this was the best thing that they've actually eaten. But that's an experience. These are the kind of experience that you'll remember now because I went there. And if you think about it, the photos you take on travel, right? You never actually go back and look at those photos after. There's somewhere stuck on your cloud or something, and
it's there.
You'll get one pop-up one day saying, oh, this day,
8 years ago,
2 years ago, 4 years ago, like, oh, wow, just like that. It doesn't actually work that way. So go experience it that way. And those stories you get out of that, falling asleep when your flight was actually taking off, turning out you were stuck in the airport, that kind of stuff happens. Those are the kind of
things you cherish.
Yeah.
Right?
And don't go chasing masala dosa in Thailand and Paris.
Yeah. Anyways, dude, that way in the US, like the one thing I can't do is I can't bring myself to order masala dosa or something outside. I remember once in the US, I was there for quite some time actually. I was really craving like South Indian food, like this Dashini food like that. You get that hankering, it's impossible to get out of. Went to some Indian place with a bunch of friends, saw the menu, saw like, it's like masala dosa, come to potato filled lentil crepe and some rubbish they put as part of that. See the price was $50. I said, bro, it's 50 rupees in India.
50 rupees. I'm not going to...
for this kind of stuff. In my heart, I can't. Like my stomach may say something, my heart and my brain will say, boss, not going to happen.
Man, this is crazy. Siddarth, I think the glimpse or the kind of insight I wanted people to have into your life, I think I've literally overachieved that with this conversation. I usually end the episode with this, like maybe what's one thing you want to tell the people who are watching in terms of living a better life? Like just one final, message,
Don't be a rebellion against yourself. See, understanding who you are as a person comes in part from talking to other people, figuring out what other folks of experience are. But a large amount of that actually comes from what you feel comfortable actually doing. Figure out what that is. There are some people who've been driven to be ambitious, who've been given this false sense of ambition that they can never really achieve because their interests and pursuits lie elsewhere. You have one life. I mean, it's a cliche. Everyone knows you have one life after all, unless you're Buddhist or something and believe in reincarnation and all that other stuff. But as of now, think about it. If you were to look back in your life and you have nothing else to look forward to, what do you want to remember your life as? Doing something you miserably hated, being stuck in a relationship that you never wanted to be a part of, not actually taking the chance to go out there and do something? You owe yourself better. You live in a time and place where you can actually achieve that, where your parents could, your grandparents could, others could. You owe yourself and you owe all of them just leading a better life. As long as you do that, that's all.
And I think we have enough resources today to be able to live that life.
Much better quality.
So lovely, man. Great message towards the end. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
This is the end of the episode. I hope you liked it. There's a lot of insight that he's given us. I think I will also sit back and watch this episode. There's so much that we spoke about. But I loved your thoughts. It's crazy. It's amazing how open you are. Definitely a change from the impression I had about you. So amazing, man. I think
at college I would go. College was fun. There's all these little juniors running around. They're like, oh, Siddarth, oh, just go and scare the shit out of them.
Oh, man.
I was just low level stuff also scared. I don't know why they were scared of me. I hung out with a large number of my juniors actually. It was fantastic fun. I was never like, oh, hang out only with my guys. I'm an upperclassman. I'm third year. Hey, dude, they come in, they're as scared as you were 3 years ago. So make them feel welcome over here, the way your seniors did.
Nice. But Siddarth, you're definitely inspiring and full power to your company. Hoping to see a lot more of your articles and full power to that, man. So thanks for being here. I hope you all enjoyed the episode. Let us know if you want us to ask Siddarth something in the comments, or you can just DM me and we'll make sure to make that happen. Thank you for being here. See you on the next one.
Take care, guys.